Hey, come see us do stand-up comedy in Tempe, Arizona, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Cincinnati, Lexington, Burbank, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. So at the Graduate Center, so you see this guy, Paul Krugman? I used to like this guy about 15 years ago, and then he's
the best.
He's the worst.
Is he going to change my perception of the economy? So that's the problem, not the economy, the perception.
So this is the problem is not the economy, but they say the perception of the economy. Right. It says perceptions of the economy and the impact on the election. An expert panel discusses not a partisan hard-on panel. An expert panel discusses American sentiment about the economy versus statistics and how it may affect the vote.
You know what this looks like, Jimmy? When my girl worked at Getty and she was in HR department, and they would go, "How can we make people be happier to work here with like titles without paying them any more money?"
Yeah, that's what that is.
So that's what this is. Like, we don't want to go back to before COVID. We've demolished the economy on purpose. And how do we change the perception that it's good we're in this spot right now?
So here's the description of it. It said, why do many Americans feel down about the economy when indicators like the unemployment rate, GDP, and inflation show strength? Yeah, exactly. What could be troubling everyone who is not a member of the CUNY Graduate Center?
I don't even know what that is.
How could there possibly be people with more financial concerns than everybody on that panel? That's not how narcissism works.
Indicators.
Everyone,
Jimmy, the indicators.
Yes. Just look at these. Just look at these warriors for the middle class, Kurt. They don't drink their Dom Perignon They drink their Dom Perignon out of a Dixie cup. That's how you know they're regular people.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought only J.D. Vance did that. Hey, why are they like? There's no like. Hey, maybe our indicators are off.
Right.
Maybe we're measuring this wrong.
Never. So there's a little bit more to this description of this event. How much do partisan politics, race, and class come into play? A panel of experts sheds light on the current economic landscape, featuring Paul Krugman, Nobel laureate, distinguished professor at CUNY graduate. So all these asswipes, someone from the New York Times, an editorial board member of the New York Times. Oh my God. And then a former chief economist at the White House Council on Economic Advisors, and a director of economics at the Yale Budget Lab. Leading the discussion is Dorian T. Warren, co-president of Community Change Action and co-founder of... So all these douchebags, these are all out-of-touch douchebags. That's what this is. Okay. So,
Okay.
Jose Vega said, I'm going to show it to you. Here, he said, I confronted the Nobel laureate, Paul Krugman, net worth of $5 million, along with a panel of fellow New York Times mouthpieces, as they blathered about how the perspective concerning the election could be so different from the numbers he and his quackademic economist associates put forward to drive the big lie that the inflation is low and that the economy is strong. Meanwhile, people in the South Bronx, where I am an independent candidate for federal office, and all across the United States, people suffer from a financial collapse brought about by the Harris-Cheney xenophobic and suicidal foreign policy, as our livelihoods are bled for an open society project in Ukraine and the Frets Island of the Zionists. Of the Frets? What is that? Or Eretz Island. I don't know what that is. I never heard that. But anyway, so the entire purpose of something like this panel is to give other low information rich kids something to say to others when they're called out on for being their immoral sloth. But here we go. So let's listen. Yeah. Let's listen to. He's going to confront those people.
Okay. Nobel Prize-winning economist here to tell us how great the economy is. I certainly wonder how the residents of Asheville, North Carolina must be feeling right now with no access to power or water or communication with the outside world. I wonder how enthusiastic they are about the economy right now. I wonder how enthusiastic the residents of the South Bronx must be feeling about the economy. Hey, maybe North Carolina should rename itself Israel so it'll get $20 billion in aid. Or maybe Ukraine so it can get $300 billion in aid. Maybe the South Bronx should do the same thing. I mean, I'm sure the economy is great for smug liberals like yourself who make $5 million and are worth $5 million. I'm sure the economy must be great for all you smug journalists, economists. All of you must be having a great time with the economy when most people can't even pay for basic necessities, for people who are getting evicted because they can't pay their rent. Because over in the South Bronx, just a few miles away from here, there are portions of buildings that are literally collapsing. And I'm supposed to give a shit about the stock market? You want to know why the presidential election is tied right now? Because our money is being sent to Israel and Ukraine so that they can continue to bomb innocent women and children. You think that's a great economy? I'm sure Israel, with their free health care, is having a great time with American taxpayer money. Hey, is anyone here going to talk about the fact that we could be in war with Iran in a few days? Or do we need to focus on the S&P 500? Is that what actually matters? The S&P 500, when most people may not even be alive here in a few days just because we're on the verge of nuclear war. Hey, listen to me, Mr. Krugman. Your degree is worthless. You might as well use it as paperweight because it means nothing. I hope you enjoy the dead children that the economy is powering. Our economy is definitely very powerful right now. All that stock market money goes to the military complex so that more innocent women and children are dead. And fuck off with the New York Times, the liberal apologists for war and genocide. You all fucking suck. People need to wake up right now, and we need to have peace. We can work with China. We can work with Russia. We don't need to start war with Iran. All right, I'm good. We're good.
He had like 5 mic drops where he could have dropped his mic and walked.
Yeah. So that panel is a bunch of douchebags who are there to tell you that the economy's great. What's wrong with the regular people who don't think the economy's great? Well, I'll tell you. How about 80% of workers live paycheck to paycheck? How about half the country can't afford a $400 emergency? Half the people in America right now can't afford a house, a $250,000 house. 3 out of 5 people renting don't think they'll ever be able to buy a house in the United States. Did you know that? So where's your great economy? So they get their S&P and their Wall Street numbers, and look, inflation's lower than it was, and so it must be doing great. Meanwhile, people are paying half their income for housing. Meanwhile, senior citizens are cutting their medicine in half because they can't afford it. Meanwhile, most people are living paycheck to paycheck. Meanwhile, half the country can't afford a $400 emergency.
Getting medicine has been a nightmare, by the way, the entire time I've been alive. Like, that has always been, and that's an acceptable nightmare, I guess, to some people. Like, oh, no, it's always going to be hell forever. But now all the other stuff is becoming like medicine. The groceries, the fuel, and just basic stuff. And you can't take all those away and think that it's going to work out. They know it's not going to work out. I don't understand.
That was the most truth that room full of people I was going to hear all night long from that thing.
He got a lot out. They're ostensibly left here, those people. So they have to hear out that the South Bronx, they can't afford they have to hear it out. That was really great. He went there and did that because he hit them from the left.
Yes.
And because they're fake, like, I'm a boutique leftist, they have to pretend to care about it while throwing him out. So they had to let him say his piece.
It's amazing how much clarity Jose Vega has shouting at them than anything they've ever said in their entire lives collectively.
Well, Krugman used to not say such moronic things, but because at the time he was paid to not be a moron.
To not be a moron. So he then, by the way, Jose Vega is running for Congress. He's running against that AIPAC tool, Richie Torres, in the South Bronx. So everybody should vote for him.
That should be his ad if he had it as an ad.
That should be his ad.
That should be the ad.
Right there.
I would, if I lived there and I saw he does that, I would vote for him just out of that.
Just for that. I know. So, by the way, Paul Krugman doesn't allow anyone to reply to his tweets.
Oh,
not just this one. He says, last night at CUNY event, is that CUNY or SUNY? How do you say it? At a CUNY event about perceptions of the economy, we had a guy yelling about Biden refusing to help Helen victims who had to be escorted out. So Trump's lies have gone viral.
I can't believe Paul Krugman felt the need to tweet a response. That means that what Jose did really got to him.
It really got to him. Means.
Because Jose said a lot of shit.
Yeah.
By the way, Asheville, North Carolina, that's one of the places where back when I had that media, it was before canceling, but that's what happened. They're like, we can't, the owners of the theater, we can't have him here. Because Asheville is a very known vote Democrat dipshit place. And they're getting screwed over by Democrats right now. Right now. So he tweeted that out. So he retweeted it. He got 4,000 likes. He says, yeah, that was me, you twat. Enjoy the video in full, you quackademic. I like how Paul Krugman blocks replies so he can't see any indicators.
Right.
He doesn't want to see the indicators of how it's going.
That's right. He doesn't want to.
I don't even block my haters on Twitter. I got people that are like, hate on me on Twitter, and I leave them on there because they're indicators. You know what I mean? Like I can learn from it.
So here, Larry Cloetta says, this guy is America's 2024 Henry Fonda and Jimmy Stewart. The country needs 100,000 more like him at every political meeting where the principles are just mouthpieces for the power structure. What we get instead from the power structure is a fight against misinformation.
Yeah, it's getting harder to govern.
Yeah. Please support my run for Congress as I take down Richie Torres. That's Jose Vega. Vote Vega.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That's an ad he should be plastering all over, him yelling at Paul Krugman.
That should be it.
Because there was a lot of like great lines they could have ended on, so you could cut that up into 3 different ads.
I mean, sure, he's not checking the filter on an old pickup truck, and he's not posing in photographs with P. Diddy, but he is standing up to corruption like few others. I say the guy deserves our support.
Well, if you're from the South Bronx, for sure.
I did a fundraiser for him.
That was great.
In the South Bronx. I mean, should have held it somewhere else. Probably would have got more people. The next night I went to Rutherford, New Jersey, sold 400 tickets.
Yeah. No, he's got to go up to the people there. And like, that's a place where you got to like know the people and do that. Or else they're just going to go for the same dipshit. That Torres guy sucks. Yep. I remember seeing him the first time. Like, this guy is awful.
Hey, come see us do stand-up comedy in Tempe, Arizona, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Cincinnati, Lexington, Burbank, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.